call to order and do a roll call. I'll start. D. Forte.
Peter Spline.
Some dressing.
Steve Buzzle.
Michael Griffin.
Sue Polidoro.
Corin.
Oh, sorry. Corin Hollowell, Parks and Greenery Foreman, City of Portsmouth.
Public Information Officer and driver of the Zoom bus today.
All right. So we want to approve the minutes from our September meeting, and we have a quorum. So, did everybody get a chance to
Yes.
take a look at them? All right. Any questions?
You said that John Shagnon cannot vote, but he can attend.
Right. Yeah. So he attended. I don't think you were at
I
our
was not
last
here.
meeting. He attended our last meeting, and
No,
we just kind of decided that, you know, he should be welcome to attend and encouraged to attend. You know, all of our meetings. So he wants to, you know, just kind of make it a closer relationship, I think, to the cemetery committee since he's proprietors, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that was a good idea.
that's great.
All right, any motion to accept?
Moved.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Sounds good. Okay, Point of Graves Wall. Just any update, Corin, not to put you on the spot.
No
sorry.
problem. We had a kickoff meeting with the city engineer and a group of us up at DPW. We've started a project sheet, and we're working on some of the details as to what order we need to go in. There needs to be a conversation with a state agency. And I forgot my notes, so I wish I could tell you which agency that was, but we are working on that. So progress is being made, and I'll give you a more accurate update next meeting. But we did have a
Right.
kickoff meeting about that. So,
Is
you know,
there-
as we all discussed before, it'll be a design.
Design. Yeah,
To just fix the section that collapsed or the entire curve?
It's going to be the entire thing. To replace, repair the entire Point of Graves wall.
Wow.
Yeah, there really is no option for just repairing a section. You know how that goes. So I think, you know, the idea is to get a design plan put together for how we might move forward after that. So that's the intention. And that'll drive the actual repair. You know, what are the options? What can we build? What
And you're taking into consideration the future with flooding?
Yep. Ish. I mean, it's not something that. I'll get back to you on that.
well,
Yes and no is the answer to that. Yes and no.
yes, and it's part of, like possibly replacing the pumping station that's across the street. That
Maybe.
whole area is kind
Well,
of.
we have to take that into consideration, but I don't think it would be tied to that.
Okay,
Yeah, it'll be its own thing.
okay.
I mean, maybe. So it's like we have to start with the design, get some, you know, idea of like what we're looking at, and then we figure out from there how do we tie this in? How do we fund it? How do we get it built? It all depends what we're going to build.
So we're 2 or 3 years out.
I don't think that long. I think a design is probably a year.
The design.
The design.
Just out of curiosity, that pumping station, is it going to go away?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not involved with it.
I'm just curious.
I think it's a rebuild, but I couldn't.
Yeah, because it needs to. Oh,
I think it's a rebuild, but I don't quote me on that, Peter. I don't know.
Has it been discovered why that area there is kind of lower? It seems to be sinking.
What?
That area that got hit, it seems to be lower than the rest of the fence.
Oh, I don't. I'm guessing years of road changes and construction. And, you know, it used to be. If you look at the old pictures, that was like, you know, it was a dirt cart path.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, probably got turned into stone, and then it got turned into gravel and then it got turned into pavement, and so it's just years of adding layers. So looking at the old pictures is pretty cool. You're gonna have to orient yourself. I don't know, what am I actually looking at right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, the bridge was in a different spot.
Yes.
My mother used to jump off the old one.
Yeah.
Back in the 40s or
It
50s.
took me a minute to sort of figure out what I was looking at.
Yeah, it's crazy.
This says trees, so I'm assuming we're talking about Pony Graves?
Well, we got a inquiry,
Yep.
I guess, from a local neighbor.
Yeah, so
Trees.
Max and his crew went down and lifted,
Okay,
I think that's a crab apple, I can't remember if it's a crab apple or a hawthorn, fancy rancher where the turnstile is.
yeah,
There's some low-hanging limbs that were kind of getting you in the eyes. They've raised that. We generally go in there every fall, early winter and prune. So we'll be back in there this late fall, early winter to prune shrubs. And
Fiona was in there the other day.
yep, they might have
Trim.
already started.
I think they've already.
Max uses it as filler, all the shrub pruning. So, if they start a project, let's say a tree removal, and they get done at one, he might tell two of the crew to go, why don't you go finish the day over at Pony Graves and prune rhododendrons. Okay, so.
good. Yeah, I went by, it looked really good to me, so.
Yeah, I think what happened was it got started last fall, early winter, and then it snowed, and we never
Yeah.
went back. As soon as the snow hits, so we generally use it as filler work for, end of day, late season before the snow comes. Then we usually get pretty busy with winter operations.
Okay, good. Good. All right, so Point of Grace kind of leads into the next topic with the 2026 projects. So Union Cemetery, we'd gotten a $10,000 donation from, I think Granite State Minerals or somebody related to that, a neighbor. And so I started working with Peter Hapney I'm taking pictures and giving him the areas that we want to fix. And then, we haven't signed on for anything yet because he just creates the wrought iron, he doesn't install it. So, we got to make sure that we have the, manpower to install it or do we get somebody else involved? But hopefully it comes under the $10,000. I don't know.
Will he be taking any of the bent wrought iron that's there and re-straightening it?
He hasn't said yet. No, he hasn't said yet.
I guess that was my biggest question was some of that looks like it could just be straightened, but
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, maybe
Exactly.
it's too brittle or.
He's right around the corner from.
Water Street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know Peter.
Yeah, I do too. I'm working with him right now.
In the Wendell tomb, we wanted to look into that to see if it's going to be another project for 2026. And Michael gave me the name of a masonry guy that actually did the wall outside the Treadwell, and really great work. And so I contacted him, and Sue Sterry had already been in contact with him.
Yeah,
We did a site review.
we never got an estimate.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. And he said, yes, he never provided an estimate, but he's interested in doing the work. So I'm either going to meet him there, or he's going to take a look on his own. So hopefully this month we'll have estimates for both Union and Wendell Tomb in the Pleasant Street Cemetery. So to think if that's a possibility for 2026. So after we have these estimates, we have to come back together and say, what's worth working on.
Or would that require, Arcalot?
I don't think the Wendell tomb would require any archaeologists to be there because he's just repairing. It's basically brick and mortar repair.
Brick and mortar, yeah.
Because the face of it's coming off, right?
Yes.
Essentially, it's separating.
Yeah.
I don't think so. We're certainly gonna dot our i's, cross our t's. I don't think that would be. There's no excavation going on.
Yeah.
it all depends on what he says. And if he says, hey, we gotta take this off, dig a footing, that changes it. If he says, no, I'm just gonna take a third of it down,
Point.
rebuild it, tie it back into the sides, you know, it really will depend on what he comes back with as far as process.
Yeah.
Do you want the finished product to be watertight?
What's that?
Watertight.
Oh, what, for
Yeah,
it
what-
to be watertight?
Yeah.
I think it leaks.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of his process would be making that so that it doesn't leak.
Yes, and I think the ground too, right? Isn't the water coming up,
It could.
you know,
Oh,
from
that
South
part,
Mill?
Never
I
looked
don't
at
know.
that, honestly.
It's possible, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll do I'm sure he'll assess that when he's looking at repairs, right?
all right, so to be continued on both those. Hall Cemetery, headstone straightening, we shouldn't have put if any, I'm sorry, I should have told you to put bravo. No, it's, he's just done amazing work
Yes.
and so Steve has a
I did some before and after
presentation,
pictures.
before and
Cool.
after pictures. And also, you know, along with DPW has done amazing work clearing that. I was shocked.
That's beautiful.
I have
We're
some-
trying to get in there, I think we've been in there 3 or 4 times this summer trying to keep up with everything and
Yeah,
stay on top of it. But
Those guys stopped me and asked me to, they said there might be some vandalism or some broken headstones over at,
at North,
not North.
Uh,
They said Pleasant Street, over by Pleasant Street. So I walked around, I couldn't find it.
oh,
So I just found it on the map, so now I'll go over and look and see what they're talking
at the
about.
Wentworth Cemetery, that one?
No, they said by, what was it?
Pleasant Street would be the one with the Wendell tomb, right?
Yes.
It could have been. I thought there was a couple in the very back.
Of
Maybe you already
North?
fixed them at North, yeah.
I don't
You
know.
told me about that.
They said it was like a week ago, so it's not like it was a fresh thing they saw, so.
You just recently saw them?
A week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Okay.
kind of thing
All
like
right.
that.
Well, they would know. If they told
So-
you that, then they're out mowing it every week. They would.
So I'll go check that. If it's not that, then when you get back,
We'll go for a cruise.
see what's going on with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're really tuned in now.
they're really good guys.
Sue and you, and they're super alert and sort of like more in tune with the cemeteries than they've ever been. So they really notice that stuff.
Never looked better.
Because of all the cleaning and repair work, it's kind of more obvious now too. Like, wait a minute, that wasn't broken before. Where there used to be a lot of broken stuff, but now it's so straightened out. It's the cemetery committee, so it's making.
Yeah,
It's
so
nice. It's really nice.
I'd like to walk you through there sometime when you get back from vacation. Got some
Definitely.
thoughts and questions and
Okay.
dealing with that. But here's just one. You can see that some of the headstones are in 10 to 15 pieces. So that's it. That's before, and then the after is down below. Oh, there's one of the headstones. Okay. So I've been eating through that epoxy.
and look at that.
Whoa.
I know.
Dang. Steve, wow.
It is so beautiful.
Like 2 up from the end needs to be raised, but that's
That's impressive.
one part.
That's really cool.
He's good.
Wow.
Next.
Yeah, it's really good. And there's some more.
Okay, so there's in the upper, like when you walk in the gate, the far right corner.
Yep.
So I've been repairing those, and then you'll see the next page. There was actually 3 kids' graves in there that I found that I've put all the pieces back together and lined it up. Now we need to put some grass seed or something down that's like
Definitely.
long-term, what are we gonna do type of
If you
thing.
see the crew out and about next week, just tell them to bring some seed over and throw it in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do
If
that.
not, I'll remind me when I get back. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
if you see them out and about, just give them a heads up.
okay.
We'll do it.
Okay, awesome. So like right to the left of that, or part of this was a groundhog, and
Yeah.
there's a pile, and I think there's a bunch of broken headstones under that we have to scrape off. I don't know if you get a skid steer, they kind of like scrape a little bit
Probably
and pop
gonna
the
do that by
littles.
hand.
Okay,
Yeah, I won't be bringing machines in there.
I can get your guys for an
Yeah,
afternoon or something.
yeah, I was gonna say maybe we could do like a work day over there and give
Yeah.
you the crew.
That would be awesome.
Definitely,
That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
definitely do that.
So,
Yeah,
and
looks good.
next.
That house in the background, that's down on Brackett Road.
That's
It's
by
on
the
Bracken,
school.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff under there because I remember a long time ago, like that groundhog.
Yeah.
There's definitely broken pieces like under that big mound of dirt.
And I left the big broken pieces like right at the bottom right there. So I know that there's a headstone around there someplace, so I didn't want to move that and lose where that headstone was. And on the far left, there's other broken pieces that I have to dig through and find it, so.
Do you remember the dates on the kid's grave?
Yeah, those were like 1801, 1802, things like that. And I think there's a typo because all these are halls. And then right next door, there's 3 falls, but some of the same parents. So I wasn't sure whether it just they couldn't read the guy's script and they translated to falls. I don't know. But anyway,
It's interesting.
so there's a couple other areas.
Is that your tripod in the
Yeah.
back?
Okay.
Yeah.
So scroll. So that right there is actually 3 headstones. The broken one there, and the one laying on the left, and there's one underneath the one on the left. And you'll see in the next picture. They're just fixed up. They haven't been cleaned yet.
Incredible.
So I'm working my way around that, trying to get. I think there's 3 broken ones left. One, I need some work getting that. There's a tall stump that's in the middle of it, and there's a headstone that's kind of stuck, broken and stuck right behind it. It's that thick, by like that, about like that.
So the stump it's grown onto it?
The stump, someone broke it, and the stump might have grown around the bottom, and they probably couldn't want to cut it down because the head part is laying right there. So I don't know if we could put something to get rid of the stumps, like drill holes and dump something in there and eat it away, or
I'll have a look at that.
all kinds of like stuff like that. Like now that we're getting a handle on this,
Or
let's
saw
make it
away,
pretty.
saw away a bunch of it and chisel out the rest of it or something.
Anything.
Or something out.
Yeah.
What's that ground vegetation?
It's like
It's some kind of ground cover. I don't remember the
Like-
name of it.
bulbs and
Yeah.
like lilies, rose lilies or whatever you call those things. It's really thick and kind of like
Yeah. There's a ground
Yeah.
cover in there and I just don't remember the name of it.
Yeah. Used to be a lot of lily of the valley.
That's what it was. Yeah, Lily of the Valley.
big worms in there too. If anyone needs fishing stuff, they're like snakes.
Well, it's probably
Wow.
really good soil because of all the leaf like it was
Yeah.
buried in leaves for so long that that leaf compost is like incredible for that.
Yeah, they're really in there. So that was it.
Really, really good work.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just-
really nice work.
It's good. So I don't know, do we want to organize a
Clean up.
D2?
There's only like 4 in there that really are like D2, like applied to marble. The slate looks all pretty good,
Okay.
but there's maybe half a dozen. So we're talking like half an hour kind of
You
thing.
were saying last month that, we would just go around and just spray some of them anyway, maybe it gets a spray,
So we talked
and then
about it.
next, season we go and look, does it need to be scrubbed down?
Yeah,
Done again.
yeah, I'm
Scrub
happy to
those.
go up and,
I have a question about the children's headstones that you got, did you find them underneath dirt while you were?
Some were on top, like some of the pieces were there. So I saw where they lined up near the parents. And then I found all the footstones in the dirt where the groundhog was.
The group that comes from UNH to do ground surveying, can they come to those areas and check for extra pieces or another children's headstone that maybe got missed? Because if, there were 3 that you couldn't even just see until you were
That would be
on
awesome.
around, they might be able to kind of give another sweep in those areas where we
Yes.
have a lot of broken pieces and finding smaller stones.
Great idea.
I don't know if they've been in touch recently.
well, yep, I was gonna talk about it in other business. So just this week, Sue Sterry forwarded an email she got from Alexander Garcia Putnam, I think it is, from UNH, and he wants to come back to North Cemetery and do some GPR stuff. And I think it's the yellow fever, like he's still looking for that, or
That's what he was working on.
yeah, but meeting him at 10 o'clock on Saturday at North Cemetery, and anybody's welcome to
This
come if
Saturday?
you want to hear more. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I want to find out what tours are going on Saturday. We don't want to, be disruptive to that. But it's during the day, so I think the tours that the Historical Society have going on with lanterns and stuff is going to be
Start at 4.
4. Okay, great. All right, so we won't disturb that, but anybody's welcome to come Saturday at 10 o'clock and meet Alexander and hear more about what he's doing. But I will also bring up, can you come to Hall Cemetery and take a look? So great. Well, really good work.
Yeah.
That was very good work. All right, so the next topic, just wanted to, bring up that the Sons of the American Revolution had a ceremony at North Cemetery on, I think it was September 13th. It was September 13th, and it was really cool. So it was like to commemorate those who were involved in the attack on William and Mary, which is now Fort Constitution. And Sue was there as well. And so I don't know if you want to say anything more about it, or
Well, I thought it was a nicely done
Very nicely
ceremony, and they had their color guard for the SAR, and they fired their muskets, and there were some people from the DAR as well.
Right.
It was a nice ceremony.
yeah, it was very nice.
Can we put any pictures of that on the website? Or can we?
I don't know that there were anybody there taking pictures for the city.
Look, so I
I
could
have
just-
some pictures too that I took.
You're saying put some pictures up of that on the
Cemetery
cemetery
website, yeah, let's start getting some traction there, put some stuff up.
like something like, hey, this recently happened at
Yeah.
the
We can definitely do that. Because we have both the committee page and a page for every historic cemetery. So whichever one, we could talk about the
Cross-link.
event and link it to actual North Cemetery.
So, yeah,
So Sue should send you pictures.
Yes, please.
Sue, do you have Stephanie's contact info?
I do,
So
But
it's
I don't have-
sccord@portsmouthnh.gov.
I have your email, but I don't have that I can send it from myself.
The text, yes, 603.
Do you want that on a public meeting or do you want to do that after?
Yeah.
Good point.
It's on, it's
Well, I
my
wasn't sure
public
if it was your-
information, yeah. it's
Okay, I
my-
wasn't sure.
It's everything.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
It's my 24/7 phone number.
603.
205-3008.
Stephanie to the rescue phone number.
good idea. So I don't know, Sue, through your contacts, if you know if there's any other 250th, ceremonies that are gonna,
I know that the SAR is planning on doing several things next year, but they're in the planning stages right now.
in Portsmouth.
Yeah, I don't know about anybody else, any of the other historical societies or what.
Do we have the location of the veterans' graves or anything like that? Have that a higher priority to make sure they're upright, they're fixed, they're cleaned and all that sort of stuff? It'd probably
The
be-
ones that they recognize that all, they have been cleaned and they just put the markers on it. They had a granite marker that they put right in front of it. So,
And there is like a website now.
So there is a state commission on the 250th because every state was asked to have one. And we have had one for a couple of years, which is kind of interesting because the co-chair of the National 200 America 250 Commission is Senator Shaheen. So for whatever reason, it took a long time to get the commission here together and to get a website launched. There is finally a New Hampshire 250.org website, which is collecting listings of events. It essentially is trying to maintain a calendar of everybody who's doing something related to the celebration of the 250th.
In New Hampshire spelled out, right?
Yes, correct. And there have been a couple of meetings with joint meetings, New Hampshire Humanities, the New Hampshire Historical Society, and New Hampshire PBS, collective meeting to try to get all of the people who are doing anything across the state in the same room, historical societies, museums, and those meetings, there have been 2 of them in Concord, and both of those were attended by people from Strawberry Bank, the Independence Museum, of course that's Exeter, but the Portsmouth Historical Society, the Black Heritage Trail, and the historic houses. So, and all of the historic houses, although operated by multiple organizations, there is the association, how does it go? Historic Sites Associates.org, which meets all of the entities, Strawberry Bank, Moffett Ladd, Warner, everybody, all of the Historic New England for those 3 houses, Historical Society. They meet regularly. So there's awareness. I think everybody is pretty much doing their own celebration or program or commemoration. And the New Hampshire Humanities has been encouraging people to look at the 250th as an examination of our values. So it's not just about historical commemoration of Revolutionary War activities. It's about what does the Declaration mean now? What does it mean to people today? So different groups, there's yet another group called the Heritage Trail of New Hampshire, of which Strawberry Bank is a member, that is doing exactly that. Their umbrella is what does the Declaration mean now? What do the values mean across all of their member institutions? So, like the Sons of the American Revolution, I think there's the planning process going on now for the programs and exhibits and special lectures or whatever that will happen next year. But this new website, New Hampshire 250, gives a place to put all of those in one place for people who are trying to find events that they know about. I mean, as we know, all of the 200 some odd, which is an interesting number to me. I thought we had 400 something towns, but I think it's 235, I heard this morning. Each of our towns is a poster child for American history. So everybody has a different chapter and different people to commemorate. And I know that because, Dee, the original email may have come to you. Laurel Yancey, who was one of the Whipple Wendell descendants, she wanted somebody at New Hampshire 250 to know about the Whipple story and the Wendell and the Dinah Whipple, the whole story. So that's what I can tell you about what's happening.
And that's why we dug into it, to get that information to Laurel.
And the study, I've been following this for a couple of years now because I'm also the president of the Association of Historical Societies of New Hampshire. So I've been trying to figure out what is happening to be able to inform our member historical societies. There are 56 of them. So that's why I've stayed on it. But the only other thing that the New Hampshire Commission is planning to do, what they're charged with doing, is some kind of event on the State House lawn on July 4th, 2026. There may or may not be fireworks that evening, no one seems to be very sure, but they being the state archives in Concord, and the state archivist Ashley Miller are charged with coming up with something as the state's commemoration. So I guess the lesson out of all of that is that individual initiatives are welcomed. There is a central place that you can now post what's happening. And our historical organizations are planning different things. Obviously, Strawberry Bank has 4 or 5 houses that are specific to the Revolutionary era. And I'm not sure what the Historical Society is planning. I don't think they've announced a specific exhibitor program or lecture series or whatever for next year. But the Strawberry Bank is doing its role players and interpretations. So that's the
So it's good to know that site, and I don't know, we should, if any events are involving our cemeteries, I guess, try to make sure the committee is aware of that.
especially for burial sites of
Yeah,
Revolutionary War patriots or loyalists.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be apprised so that we can also make sure that we're presenting well.
Exactly.
I was just gonna add, I think that if we're gonna post this SAR ceremony, maybe on the North Cemetery page, we should certainly post Steve's fine work on the cemetery committee page, just to like let people know all the work that's going on. And that's just so cool. I mean, that should be on there for sure. You
I
can see
agree.
that it kind of epitomizes everything this committee's all about. Really. So
I agree, it's amazing.
it'd be a great thing to share with everybody.
Good job.
So
I just sent you the pictures, and I noticed that the one thing I do not have is a picture of the marker itself. So I'm gonna go take it tomorrow
Thanks.
and I'll send it to you.
All right, and I put the October tours just so that we know. So they're 4:00, both Thursday and Saturday at North.
That's, if I remember correctly, that's what comes to mind. Because mine are usually earlier when I give them. It's usually around 10 or 11 o'clock.
Okay.
Theirs are usually in the evenings.
Okay, good.
Did they reply back as to a day that they would like us all to go? Corin was gonna touch
I-
base with them, right?
What was that?
No, didn't you email them, Dee?
Email who?
The group that's doing the tours in Point of Graves and also over at, they were asking if they could.
And that's Portsmouth Historical Society.
Let me look that up.
Yeah.
This last
No, they
meeting, we were
didn't.
talking about
They didn't.
having the committee.
Emailed us, I forget who they emailed, but they asked if it was okay to put
Lanterns.
lanterns.
Lanterns, do snacks and stuff, and then I thought you were gonna email them about checking what day we should all go as like a, hey, the cemetery committee will be here.
Yeah,
Field
I
trip?
can do that. I'm not
Oh,
sure
sure.
if I have their email address.
I may have dropped the ball on that. I'm just going back into my emails. I find it.
But I think it's a good idea.
I think that came from Emma, the executive director, because she was communicating with the city manager. So I think that was the initial email,
Gotcha.
and the city manager responded to her that yes, we were okay with the small restrictions that the committee suggested.
Okay, yeah, because Suzanne had replied to them with all of our feedback, and I think that got overlooked. Celeste, so we can reach out to them.
Okay.
Yeah. Dee, do you want to do that? I'm going on vacation, and I'd hate to say that I'm going to do that tonight before I leave tomorrow.
If you could forward that
Yeah,
email
I'll
to
forward
me
it to
so I
you
know
right
the
now.
contact
Yep.
info, I'm happy to do that.
Sorry about that,
I could just
Celeste.
stop
It's
in
okay.
to the Historical Society too and ask them, but.
I'm just sending you the whole thread.
Excellent, thank you. Good, okay, so in other business, I mentioned the UNH person coming on Saturday. So that'll be interesting, hopefully I have something to report at our next meeting. And I want to mention that John Mayer contacted me. He is an advocate for green burials. And it doesn't really involve our committee at this point because we're historic in nature and not, looking for additional land. The city is, but we're not involved in that. But if people are interested, there's going to be a presentation on green burials at the South Church on October 29th at 3:00. And so a couple experts, one from NewHampshireFuneral.org and another one from a green burial company is gonna present there. So just that's an FYI if people are
No, I've
interested.
written that down. I plan to attend.
Is it 3:00?
3:00 on
Yeah,
it's a Wednesday.
You aware of the statutory stuff though? No. Sorry.
No problem. No problem.
The legislature has some statutory, they want to statutorily
They're probably gonna
something
go over
about the green burials. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've seen that or not.
Yeah.
You mentioned it last meeting.
Came
New
through the
Hampshire.
association. So there's a lot of discourse, positive and mostly negative about the proposed statute. So.
What would that involve? Legislature?
Yeah, it's a change to the RSAs.
Where is that going to be held? At the
South Church.
South Church.
I'm not sure if it's in the basement or
Probably.
probably in the basement. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be there. And Suzanne's not here tonight, so I'll bring this up with her individually. But appointments, we had somebody that had put in an application to be on the cemetery committee and didn't hear back on it at all. It's going to be presented at the next city council meeting, and it's usually just they present a list of appointments for all committees and say, and just it's accepted. But I just feel like we need a little more kind of background on that whole appointment process, because each one of us actually has different number of years for our term, and I have no clue, what the term years are. So I'm going to try to get more information on that, just so we're all aware and
My limbo term.
yeah.
I think we did that on the tree committee, so everyone doesn't fall off at once.
Right,
They'll
we
be
did.
staggered.
We did. It was like 3 year, 2 year, 1 year, but
You've already done that for this group?
no, I have no clue.
I think there were different terms for, like you had a different term because you were co-chair than I did. Like yours was 3 and mine was 2.
Yeah, so I'm gonna find out. So get more
I've
training.
lost track, so.
Yeah, and I have no idea. I know that like Sue Sterry and I and I think you were like one of the first ones to respond that yes, we want to continue on the committee. So I think we had 3 year terms, but I don't know if the 3 years is up at this point or not. So
It's probably getting close.
yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna look into that. And I think Suzanne probably could have provided more background on that. But.
The city clerk could tell you that. She could
Yeah.
tell you what the terms are and who's in what
Okay.
phase.
City clerk.
Kelly Barnaby, the
Kelly
city
Barnaby.
clerk.
Okay.
Didn't you email her?
I did.
Yeah.
I emailed her about Celeste because Celeste thinks that hers is up.
Well, it is. I got notification, and then the first meeting that I was to have after the end of my term was basically like 2 days after I got the notification, and the date on the notification was like 3 or 4 weeks before I got it mailed to me, or actually received it, which is weird because I live down the street, you know. Regardless, I sent it back and it's been 5 months and I haven't gotten any
Okay.
letter back.
So I will get more clarification on that for us, so. So that's all I had for the agenda. Do we have any other items or public comments or?
How many stones did that epoxy container allow you to do?
It's tough, if you're just putting 2 slate ones back together, you could do 2 or 3 headstones with just a little container. But like that broken headstone, I used like 5 containers just in the headstone, that one headstone.
Your little sippy cups.
We'll get you as much as you need.
Just another
Keep
one
on
of those.
trucking.
And I'm not eating stuff, but it looks like I'm wearing it. I said, where's some gloves?
Unlimited supply.
Thank you. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's incredible.
It's almost like we should have a team, and other people working, you know.
That's what I'd love, you know, it's just
You
what people want.
lead
Well, it'd be
the
fun
effort.
to, maybe if we get the crew out there with you,
Yeah.
you know, do a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
That'd be, got a few guys that are super interested, they're very interested in stonework. Got one gentleman that builds stone walls outside of work, so that'd be right up his alley.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
When you get back, we'll schedule it. And we'll work together.
Okay, yeah.
Can you send me the info so I'll order some for myself?
Yeah.
I misplaced your text.
Yeah, I can send it to you when I get that. Apox.
Made in Germany, is it? Or?
I can't remember. I know I got it from Amazon.
You got the names though?
Yeah, I think we ordered it right through Amazon. Yeah.
I'll text you the picture of that stuff.
Probably Seeker makes it, but that's okay.
What can you get? What can you get through Amazon?
And it's there the next day.
No,
Yeah,
pick it up over at Whole Foods the next day.
Because I bought some,
That's crazy.
I bought some tinting color because that's all white. So I bought a black tube of it from Atlas Preservation, and you just add like a little bit of that, and you mix it up. Different
It's made to go with that
Yeah,
system. Really?
yeah.
For the slate, right?
For slate or
That's
So the other was charcoal.
They left it white on the Acropolis though, so they would know where the changes were. So they could show you what they preserved.
okay. I'm going for a blend.
It just,
Make it as
well, I mean,
I
just,
like his method better.
well, no, I do too, but I think it's just very interesting that
so some of those have been repaired 2 or 3 times.
well,
You know, and it's
Yeah.
you try to chisel off as much of the old stuff as you can. And
yeah.
They do sell it through Atlas Preservation though too. You go to their
Do
website.
the Japanese
It's all
method where
in
you
there,
do it
but
with
the
gold.
cheapest one.
It's supposed to be like a thing of 3.
I think Amazon.
Right, yeah.
Preservation.
Yeah.
I just did a Google
Teacup.
search and I saw Atlas Preservation. That's where we got the tripod from, right?
Yeah, they have all kinds of stuff.
So shipping was cheap.
All right, and continue to take before and after pictures. It's really good.
Keep trying to remember that. But
I don't know, at some point, maybe we should have you present to city council too, to
You get your third
Show 'em what
floor
we're doing.
bathroom fixed, resolved.
yes, I still have to get it. It's not leaking right now, but I need the CO.
All right, so I think that's it.
Okay.
Unless anybody has anything
Will you
more?
propose postponing January meeting? Was that on your?
We talked, we can, settle that on, talked about that at last meeting, just do we want to continue to meet every month? I think the consensus was yes, and then maybe during the holidays, that meeting would be canceled, but.
Oh yeah, it's New Year's Day.
No,
none of us are.
I know. Yes,
I'll put.
January 1st.
Yeah.
So good. Any motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.